right, so we'll introduce ourselves, starting to my left at the end of the table. Mary.
Mary Rogers, treasurer.
Lori Elwell, clerk.
Kim Kroll, board member.
Maria Scully, board member.
Matthew Patterson, board member.
Tim Schrader, board member.
Ray Molyneux, board member and chairman.
And Renee Gordon, the Director of Finance for the SU.
All right. We have no public comments because there's no one here to make them. Finance, we have the treasurer's report for October.
Which
Your copies if anybody would like a hard
kind
Yeah, I
of
think
bring
Yeah,
the hard
maybe
copy.
I would like
so.
one, yeah.
Need
Yep.
one? And I will point out one thing on this, that there were a couple of warrants that came out late in the month at the very end. So, although there was plenty of money in the cash account to cover it, I would have, my druthers would have been to borrow a little more so that we didn't use the building maintenance money that had been set aside. But then on the other hand, I wasn't certain, since really most of that of the unusual expenses were the
Building
repair and
maintenance.
maintenance costs. I wasn't certain whether the board's intention was to use those funds to cover anything that was not covered by the insurance. And
Well,
whether there are
it's-
still
it's-
some insurance checks.
The fact is that
out.
it will be covered by insurance,
Okay,
but I've got to get the bills to them. And I was
Okay.
I haven't done it, that's my fault. But we did get the bills paid,
okay.
which is a good thing. Thank you.
And then
And-
as of now, we have probably 70+% of our taxes collected as of this afternoon.
Mhm.
So there will be, and I'm actually hoping that before the checks are signed for the warrant that you will be approving tonight,
Mhm.
I will be able to fund that with current year taxes.
Okay. All right. So on this, the sinking fund balance, 71,000, that's correct now?
That is.
And what's the operating cash balance negative?
That's what she's talking about.
That's because I transferred $18,000 to cover what we needed before those unusual warrants came up in the last week of the month. There
So
is,
that's
our
from
ending
the,
account
that's from the
balance is
loan.
$61,000.
Is that loan money? That's what I'm asking.
No. Our account balance is $61,000.
Yeah.
In that
Okay.
$61,000, memoed is that $70,000 belongs to the sinking fund for the building
Sorry,
maintenance.
I'm trying to listen to her and I'm having trouble hearing that.
So let me repeat.
Yes, thank you.
We have $61,000, or had at the end of the month.
Yep.
We had $61,000 in the checking account.
Yeah.
On a memo basis, in the general ledger, 70,000 of that really is
So you're balancing it out.
saved for, identified for
Right.
the building maintenance fund.
Yep.
As I said, I wasn't certain whether any of that $23,000 in repair and maintenance was supposed to be allocated or assigned to that fund, because we hadn't met yet to talk about it.
Well, okay. But we have a line item for, of 26,000, is it? To
Yes,
go
we do.
into the into the maintenance fund.
An
And-
additional one will go in by the end of this year.
Right, but we've been
Additional 10.
paying current expenses on the
23,
building when we
26.
have them out of that 26,000. Have we not? Or is that not the way you've been doing it?
Not really. There have been some that have been paid out of there at the end of last year,
Yeah.
But through this year, there have not, at least not to my knowledge.
So how did you want to handle it? I'm confused because I don't remember how you said you wanted to
I
handle it.
would rather continue to pay repair and maintenance costs out of current year operating funds until you have those unusual expenses that you then decide these are not regular ongoing things, these are things that we want to use those prior year funds that have been built up.
Okay.
This is not including anything that's assigned for this, in this current budget. This is prior year's budgets.
Right, that's what was there when it started the year.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
I think that's the ideal way to do it, but I don't think it's,
Yep.
when we build budgets, I'm not sure we allow for that in those. We have the sinking fund, and I don't know what additional current year R&M costs we include in a different line item.
There's about
Yeah.
$25.23 we've paid out of that now, I think, for custodial supplies for the building. So I think that was where it's supplies custodian was coming out of that. So it's grouped together in that
From
function code.
the sinking.
Does that seem reasonable to you,
That was the
Renee?
20, that was the
do it.
reimbursement. to
Oh,
you
that was
for-
a check to me for
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
I bought to fix
Yeah.
Right.
$23.
Okay, as long as at the end of the year, we have a line item to cover expenses that we take out that way to pay for building costs. And we'll be fine on the audit, right? So you handle it the way you wish. But I just
Well, I would
wanted to understand it.
assume that this is out of that line item, which was 31,000 last year, and off the top of my head, is it?
It's 31.
Yes,
It's 31
$31,000. So that was my assumption that anything that is out of pocket and not covered by insurance is gonna come out of there
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah, it will.
And then whatever is left over rolls into
Correct.
Yes.
here.
And what happens with the insurance proceeds? Where do they end up going? They just go into the general operating fund? Or do they go into this, in this case, would they go into the sinking fund? No, they're just to the
It's a
operating fund.
miscellaneous
Yes.
revenue.
So
Yes.
this is correct way to do it because ultimately that money will come and wash this, this problem away.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you, that's great. All right, any questions for anyone else about treasurer's report, budget status report, consent agenda? That's for warrants and approval of minutes from last meeting. I'd be asking for a motion. So moved. And a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. So, any comments or questions about warrants? Look at this. So.
I would have one question, and that is, do you expect there to be any additional expenses for the month of November coming in towards the end of the month like we had the last couple
No.
months? No, okay.
That
That's
was,
warrant.
that was due to my finding that I had bills that I hadn't turned in. And I hope that doesn't happen again. I don't have any currently, and I don't expect to
Okay.
receive any, so, yeah, fine.
Do we need to discuss the prorated tuition?
No,
Okay,
it's taken care of.
okay.
Mr. Kosas had a conversation with them, and the director understood the situation.
Okay.
It's being adjusted. Yeah, okay, so most of this is pretty
Mhm.
ordinary stuff.
Yep.
There is the one item which is not actually related to any of these insurance claims, and that is the repair to the catch basin out here by Jerome Construction. And that one I had received, and I thought we ought to get it paid, so. Other than that,
There's been a motion and a second.
yep, I know that. I'm going to say, we'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do I need to abstain because I wasn't here for the minutes? Or do I abstain from part of that, or how's that work?
You weren't here
I
last
wasn't
week
here
for
last
the
month.
minutes?
I don't believe it.
Last week, month? Well, yeah, you can abstain if you wish.
Okay.
But I'm fine with that. Okay. Let's see, what's next here?
Superintendent's report, and Jim
Yeah.
is sick, and Donna is in Shaftesbury giving a presentation right now. Sorry.
Okay. So,
Streamlines matters.
that means you're not going to give us a superintendent report. Okay, so we'll move to, there's no policies. I don't know about other executive session. We will need one for a little personnel discussion. Chair's report is next, and this was basically the end of the meeting, so once, except for the little executive session. So K-6 in student enrollments, I received a form from Jim Kosis at central office showing the numbers, which I'm supposed to confirm, and I looked at them today, and it shows 135 students K-6 in the village school plus Shaftesbury, Southshire, Pine Cobble, Highland Hall. And of that, 117 are village school, and the other 18 are distributed between the other institutions, which I can detail for you, but I have to refresh my memory
No, it's not necessary.
about the actual
Not worried about
distribution.
it.
And I think that's pretty good. That's up from last year, so it continued to rise a little bit.
What were we at last year?
108.
Wow.
108 at the village school.
Okay.
That's where the main change is.
Because
The
it was
rest balances.
18, wasn't there 18 still going elsewhere?
There were 19 last year.
Okay.
Okay.
What have we got here this year? It's 117 from 135, 18. So it dropped one between them all, and I think that was Highland Hall lost one. Netted losing one.
Yeah.
So we're +8 overall for all of them.
Yes.
Yep.
And our pre-K showing on this chart was, you would know that,
I would.
Lori. What is it?
So, we have 27,
Yes, that's it.
and I just added another today for the, so we are full, morning and afternoon, and we have a waiting list of 21.
But that happens to be the 3- and 4-year-old population of the district is 27, I believe, something like that.
Crazy.
It's good.
I just saw
And-
the janitor downstairs, and he said, "Who's the teacher in this room?" I said, "I don't know."
His name is Elwell.
I know, and I don't know. But they throw rice like there's bird seed and rice.
Right. Well, last year there was sand everywhere, so.
We
It's-
switched
Rice
it.
is much better
That's
on
what
the farm.
they told
Not
me.
as hard on the floor, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so,
Are we going to expect this to translate into another really big kindergarten class next
Um,
year? Or
it's not huge at the moment.
Well, because the kids right now It's interesting. They're young threes.
Okay.
And last year we had old fours,
Okay.
which translated into a large K. But no, I don't think there's much wiggle room for next year's pre-K because they'll stay. Most of them will
Okay.
stay because they're young threes. We do have 3 or 4 moving on because they're turning 5 this coming year. But
Okay.
so
And there are some kids I know who are being either kept at home or they're in a non-registered program.
right.
There are district children.
Hmm.
We may see them for kindergarten.
Right. There are several that are at home.
Yeah.
They're not in any
Right.
outside setting.
Because pre-K is not compulsory.
Right.
It is universal, but not compulsory. So those numbers will grow, probably.
I think so.
When will we get a better sense of that? You said that there are 27 3- and 4-year-olds
I think
in the
that's
district?
right. I
That's
think
the
it's like
count?
9 3-year-olds and
18.
18 or somewhere around that for 4-year-olds.
So we'll do screenings, and I'll start inviting the Ks, incoming Ks from everywhere in December, January, and then I'll keep getting a better idea, and then we'll screen in April. It's not going to be small,
Mm-mm.
I don't think, again, which would make the 3rd year of a pretty good sized class.
Yeah.
How
Right.
big's the 6th grade this year?
14, I think.
So you could see another, just from that addition, another 6 added to the.
Yeah, well, the
Could be
growth,
16,
the growth
but-
is, we're sloped downward as we go up in grades, but that's only because we descended and now we're rising. So
Yeah.
these grades are starting to fill up.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
And that, for that reason, even if the kindergartens
Totals
are just
come down.
normal, but bigger than the exiting classes,
But there's
you're gonna
going to
see.
be a bulge, there's going to
Yeah.
be
Mhm.
increase.
So we might need to think about budgeting for something like 140 next year.
Well,
We'll have to talk about
total,
that.
yeah, we'll have to start thinking about.
Total.
Okay.
Yep. Right, if we have 18 or 19 coming in, 20 for kindergarten, that'd be another 6. Be 123 plus
Okay.
18 or so outside. You're
Nice
at
problem to have,
140.
really.
Mhm.
Okay, that's enrollments. Merger vote, well, I'm not really going to talk about the merger vote per se. Mostly it's about, you're welcome to comment in my report here, because I don't really have much to say about it, because I'm not sure what it means at this point. But we do have some Act 46 business to take, because we have our Section 9 report to get put into shape. So I'm opening the floor at the moment for any comments, and then I'd like to ask Tim to talk about his way of handling the work on the Section 9 through the Google, what is
Docs.
it?
It's Google Docs.
Docs, yeah. So I guess that's where we're going.
Okay,
You're gonna
I
talk
can,
now.
want me to talk now? Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Some people love Google Docs, some people absolutely despise Google Docs. I'm in the love category on that one. I think it's a really convenient way that 5 people can work on a written document together. The catch, of course, is that you have everybody has to have a Gmail account to do it, which you could have in 3 minutes
Yes.
if you wanted
Mhm.
to.
Yeah.
I'm logged in.
Mhm.
Haven't logged in yet, but you have
Okay.
one?
I haven't logged in.
And
That's
just-
different from the having,
But if you have a
Gmail.
Gmail, then you have an account,
right.
but you have to.
I have to register or something? No,
No, I think you'll use that.
No, as long as you're logged into,
it's the same
it works
login.
best if you use the Chrome browser.
Oh,
It'll work in other browsers, but it works better in Chrome, Google's browser. So if you have Chrome browser, which is also a free download. You just log in.
I don't think I
Chrome.
can get Chrome on this machine.
Probably not on the machine. Can we go,
Yeah.
can we back up one step
Okay.
about Ray getting a new machine? Back up
Yeah.
about 10 steps? No, I'm serious. This
Yeah.
is ridiculous.
That computer looks like you need to start it with a crank.
It's had
Sometimes you do.
it's had a lot of issues, and I think we really need to address that, because it's actually caused, I think, productivity issues in the past, so.
Oh, yeah,
um,
probably has.
I just wanted to put that out there, and then I think we can discuss that further later, but.
Yeah, well,
And then Bruce Lehrman has access.
I didn't have his email address,
Okay.
so
Did anybody
I-
send that to, I can send.
Yeah, I did
send it.
not, so.
yeah,
I can
which
probably dig it
email
out of
address
other
is he
group
gonna
emails
use?
later on.
um,
So I invited everybody on the emails,
Yes.
on the email addresses that
Right.
we normally
Right.
use for this,
Mhm.
to share our meeting.
And you're going to
Information.
control edit access?
I gave everyone edit access, so everyone can equally edit, add, delete.
And
Nuke
how do
the
you,
entire thing.
you're able to track that edit process, because it gives you the old versions?
Anybody can look at the entire edit history, any one of us.
But you can't delete stuff, right? You were
You
saying.
can, you can, well, I'm
You wanna be careful
advising
not to
people,
delete.
be
Just-
careful not to delete stuff.
Let it just go to the bottom of the,
Oh,
or
okay.
whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, I made an entire folder, which shows up as a shared drive folder, so we can put other documents in there too. So it's a folder, we can dump meeting notes in there so everyone can see them. And then one word processor document that we could just start adding text to for the final report.
And do you have the form of the report, I believe?
I do not.
I think I
We
can
should get
give
that
you
loaded up there
that.
right away.
If you can get that to me, then I will make an outline based on that form and we can start filling in text.
I think it's the work, is this the correct thing, the Act 46 merger worksheet? Renee?
I'm sorry?
What did they call that?
Okay. I have this document on here.
That worksheet that we have to fill.
Worksheet. It's called a worksheet.
That was one, I know that's one part. of-
This,
It's one part of it, but I
Yeah.
think, what's
yeah.
the, well,
Section 9.
if section 9 speaks to.
Oh, that actually is the worksheet for the Articles
Studies.
of Agreement.
Yeah, no, you don't want that.
No, I don't want that. Do you have a form for,
It's online at the Department of
I
Ed.
was gonna say,
Okay.
You're the first ones to ask, but I'm going to have a lot more people
Yeah,
asking.
I'm pretty
than
sure
one.
it's online and we can get it to,
well, we'll
Ay, ay, ay.
need to get it
Mm-mm.
and set it up, give it to Tim to set up.
self-analysis, is that what they're calling it? Or
Self-evaluation.
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 Some kind of whatever.
Yes. And I prefer that, at least for, like, the minutes of the committees where we are shown as participants, that one person deal with downloading that stuff from the SU website.
I think we'll ask Bruce if he's
And
willing
then
to do that.
Bruce
'cause-
can
'cause then he
download
can add
his stuff, just so it doesn't get confusing, you know. I don't want to deal with that.
Process by committee
I
can
want someone
sometimes
else
be
to
a
deal
problem,
with it.
yeah.
Get it on there. Because I tend to mess things up.
And then, when we get all that stuff, then we need to just kind of develop the narrative of whatever.
Yeah.
And
I
the flow.
think we need all this stuff in place, and then maybe would it make sense to compile all this, and then everybody has a period of time to review it, and to maybe contribute suggestions about what goes into the report.
That's
Mhm.
basically what I was
Yeah.
envisioning.
And what is
I
our
mean, I-
angle,
I
and
think
what's,
that's
what are we
the
trying to,
sense.
what are we trying to demonstrate and
Yes.
ask
That's it.
for? And that might involve a face-to-face meeting among us all once or something.
Yeah, that may be
Mid-December. It's due,
the end of
26th.
the year.
26th
of December.
26th,
Yeah,
Interesting.
of December.
Boxing Day.
Boxing Day.
Yes.
No, our Boxing Day gift to the
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Department of Ed.
So we have to print it out
AOE.
and mail it in a box.
Mm.
Okay,
We have a professional here now.
Yeah. Okay. I don't, I just think we kind of know. We were waiting to go forward after the vote that the other communities were having. I think the outcome of that vote is actually promising in that I think, I suspect that two of those communities will seek a revote rather rapidly. It's one of those situations where it appears that a vast majority of the total population is in favor of this for whatever reasons that they've talked a lot about, and I would think they would try very hard at this point to realize those benefits that they're going to get from doing this, or perceive it. And so while we were waiting for that to move ahead with what we think we need to do, and our action as to what we need to do, I don't think is any different from whatever the outcome was there. And that is we're gonna be seeking some sort of alternative structure, and maybe making some proposals that we think are actually beneficial not only to us but to the greater existing SU. Because, as you know, the statute makes it clear that the efforts, the intent is to reduce board numbers.
Yes.
And under the current structure that's been provided to us, we and Bennington are being told that there can only be the smallest applicable or practicable board numbers is 3, when in fact there are ways that it could be 1 for Bennington, where they would not have an SU, they would have a supervisory district, and then we would seek a different partner, or even a standalone structural isolation clause thing. And then in order to help those other districts realize that pure consolidation, we could find another partner to be our administrator of, find another merged or merging situation to provide the services that are required, that require us, if not fully merged with like districts, to have a supervisory union doing that. Seems to make sense to me, but and certainly part of Act 49 speaks to, there's also the 3-1 stuff that we were told officially was not applicable to us, but I think we'll be seeking some opinions about that.
Right. Well,
And I wish those other communities great success. Seems like Shasbury and Bennington knocked it out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
Is it 2-1, 3-1?
Yes.
2-1.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I gotta say. Wait, there's 2 of them. You knew that.
I don't see a form on their website.
You
but
don't?
There's
Yeah.
guidance.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
found it too.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I think you probably mash that in with the worksheet itself. And get it to be something they might want.
These go to you, Mary? No.
right. Now, as part of this, we talked last month about us seeking legal assistance to actually draft our letter, whatever form this takes, the cover that describes what we're doing and what we're asking for. And you've spoken to Mark Ottinger, right, Matt?
Yeah. We both did.
Yeah.
I've not spoken to him actually since then.
Okay.
But that's what we need to do next. He said, let's wait till after.
Right.
And then he can help us, help direct us, if necessary, and we decide we want to seek some more what we would consider solid court-based determinations and interpretations of the statutes that are being interpreted currently by State Board of Ed lawyers, that we could do that. Or maybe we first put in our proposal of what we think we really would ideally see as a community, and then when that gets challenged by the state board, then we can then go to that night. We'll have to decide that strategy.
Mhm.
Yeah. And we can work on that through this Google Docs program too. Right? We can just communicate in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And once it gets a little cleaner, we can start maybe including Pottinger or something into it. Although
Yep.
that'll get costly. So.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. Sounds like a project. Got to get done fairly quickly, though.
Mhm.
And do you know what happens then? You submit it to AOE? Is that right?
And then I don't
They
know. Yeah, they review
yeah.
it and then,
We don't know about what
Then
that
it goes in the
process
big
entails and
bucket.
how long
Mhm.
it goes on. And
Yeah,
how
there'll be a
quickly.
whole lot of them submitted by
Yeah.
right in at the end of
Yeah.
December. So the thought that they're going to
Oh, freaking
deal with
bad.
them at their January meeting is probably unlikely.
Yeah, it just says before June 1 of 2018, the secretary will consider the proposals.
Okay.
Right.
And it just goes into the big
Well, that gives time.
statewide plan
Mhm.
then.
All right. I gotta
It'll be fun to
charge
watch.
this guy before it dies. Excuse me.
As my previous comment was,
Yeah.
that battery lasts about 5 minutes. And then it'll just
We could. You buy a really nice Windows laptop for $400 or $500 right now.
be, yeah, I think our board needs to do it for him, or there actually are some, I think, a variety of Apple products at the school here, which we contributed initially
right.
to, that are now decommissioned.
So that's
That are far
really
better.
it, except for a little brief executive session, so. I'd entertain a motion to go into executive session for personnel.
Second?
You want to move first?
I mean, move, sorry.
I'll second.
All right.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Nice.